رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين الغر الميامين، ولعنة الدائمة الباقية على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم: من عرف صلوات على محمد وآل محمد صلى على محمد وآل محمد. من عرفها فقد عرفها، ومن لم يعرفها فهي فاطمة بنت محمد، وهي بضعة مني، وهي قلبي وروح التي بين جنبي. صدق مولانا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I congratulate you all on this blessed night of the Lady of Heaven, the night of the Lady of Paradise, Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra alayha salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And a topic that I wanted to talk about tonight is the topic that generally you come across a lot of times. And that is a little bit about the reflection on Surah al-Kawthar. Surah al-Kawthar, a very important surah which is very small surah, and almost everyone here have memorized it. Surah al-Kawthar, before I delve into the topic, I would want to go through a small muqaddimah, small introduction. Generally, when you talk about the gifts, when you talk about the whole transaction of the gift, there are three people, or there are three things that are involved in it. One is the giver of the gift, the presenter of the gift, one who is giving the gift. That person is called what? Wahib, someone who is giving the gift. The second is the one who is receiving it, someone who is bestowed upon, someone who is being presented with the gift, someone who is the receiver of the gift. That person is called what in fiqh? Mawhubul lahu. Because this introduction is important. I'm not here to talk about the terminologies, but this introduction is important. The third is the gift itself, which is called what? Mawhubun bih. Right? The gift, the present, the reward, the offering, all of it is called what? Hadiyah or mawhubun bih, the thing which is being given. Now it depends from person to person or what kind of gift is being given. Like I remember in old days when I was like 8 or 9 years of age, when we used to go to the houses, different houses in Muhalla, different houses in neighborhood, different houses of our relatives. And when the day of Eid would approach, we will try to go to those houses in which we would have the itminan, in which we would have this assurance within us that if we will go to these houses, we will get good Eid and good gifts. Why? There were two primary reasons that we would go there. Allah has blessed them a lot with money and wealth. That was one reason. And the second reason was that they were very generous people. So we would run towards their houses because we would knew that if we would go to these houses, we'll get good Eid there. Right? This was always one thing that would always be in our mind. So when you are trying to determine the quality of the gift, one of the determinant of the quality of the gift is the one who is giving you the gift. Wahib. The second is the one to whom the gift is being given, is being bestowed upon. Like imagine if I have to go to marriages that I have to go this season. Imagine. One is the marriage of very distant relative of mine that I have not seen her or have not seen him for ages. and I'm being called in that marriage, and there is another marriage that's happening of one of the very closest relative. Let's take an example of sister. Imagine if I would have a sister who's getting married. Do you possibly think that I would be giving them the same gift to both of them equally? No, to one of them I would probably give few $100. To the other probably I'll try to give them few $1,000s. Why? Because one is nearer to me. One, I have more close relationship with them compared to the other one, which is a very distant relative. So the quality of the gift is also determined with the relationship that a receiver would have with the presenter. Two things. And the third thing which determines the quality of the gift is what occasion the gift is being given. I want all of you to concentrate. Now imagine, let's take the example of sister. The gift can be given on a normal birthday, 5th birthday, 6th birthday, 11th birthday, 15th birthday, 20th birthday, or that the gift can be given, let's suppose, on a wedding anniversary. That is another kind of a gift that could be given. So you are giving gifts on different occasions. The important the occasion is, the better the gift would be. Imagine if you're trying to give gift in a shadi. That gift would be different than the gift that you would be giving on a normal occasion. So there are three things that would determine the quality of the gift. Now let's come back to Surah al-Kawthar, where Allah is saying, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Inna a'ataynaka al-Kawthar. O our dearest Prophet, we are giving you the abundance, we are giving you the best of our gift, we are giving you the Kawthar. Allah is the giver. And who is the receiver? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Fasalli li rabbika wanhar. Inna shani'aka huwa al-abtar. So what is your duty? Pray to your Lord and only sacrifice for Him only. And your adversary and your enemy would be the one that would be sealed off and cut off completely, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So Allah is the giver, Prophet is the receiver. And what Allah has given, Kawthar, the abundance. When was it revealed? It was revealed when one of the son of the Prophet passed away. You all know the reason of the revelation of Surah al-Kawthar. One of the son of the Prophet passed away. Prophet had two sons. Prophet had three sons. So one son his name was Qasim. That's why Prophet is called Abul Qasim. Second is called Abdullah. He's also known as Tahir and Mutahhir. The third is known as Ibrahim. All of them passed away at a very young age. When these people passed away, the enemies of Islam, the enemies of the Prophet, and specifically the father of Amr ibn As, they used to say what? The Prophet would be left with no progeny. Prophet would be left with no offspring. Prophet would be left with no descendant. At that moment, Prophet was given Fatima al-Zahra alayha salatu wassalam in order to counter the propaganda that was committed against the Prophet by the enemies of Islam. So now we have determined three things. Inshallah, I'm going to talk about each and every component. One is the giver, who is the creator of the creation, who is the Lord of the universe, Allah Almighty. The second is the receiver, who is the chief of all the messengers and the Prophet, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the third is the gift, which is Lady of Heaven and the Lady of Paradise, Fatima al-Zahra alayha salatu wassalam. So inshallah, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So inshallah, with this we would like to understand what was the gift that was given to the Prophet, and just remember the muqaddimah, memorize the muqaddimah that I just presented in front of you, and inshallah that's going to be very helpful when we're going to present some of the discussions further. One is the creator of the creation. Allah Almighty is the giver, is the presenter here. And how much power Allah has, how much authority Allah has. You should just go and look back into the examples of the Prophet, examples of the messengers, example of the blessed people, the virtuous people, the things that they have to go through. And in spite of all the things that happened to them, وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, at the end of the day, they were successful, they were triumph. Why? Because of the divine authority and the divine power of Allah Almighty. Let's take the example of none other than Zakaria alayhi salatu wassalam. Zakaria, it is mentioned in Surah Maryam. You go to Surah Maryam, as soon as Surah Maryam starts, it starts with huruf al-muqatti'at. Kaf, ha, ya, ain, sad. This is huruf al-muqatti'at. Inshallah, if we have time, one day we can talk about huruf al-muqatti'at. Dhikru rahmatu rabbika abdahu Zakaria. This is the mentioning, this is the recollection of the story of none other than the servant of Allah, Zakaria alayhi salatu wassalam. إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ نِدَاءً خَفِيًّا, when he made a private conversation, when he made an intimate supplication to Allah Almighty. And what did he say? قَالَ رَبِّي إِنِّي وَهَنَ الْعَظْمُ مِنِّي وَاشْتَعَلُ الرَّأْسُ شَيْبًا وَلَمْ أَكُنْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّكَ شَقِيًّا. O Allah, O my Lord, O my Creator, my bones have got feeble, my bones have got weaker, my hair have turned white, and verily not even for the slightest in my whole life, whenever I would supplicate you, whenever I would call upon you, I have never been in the gloominess, I have never been dishopeful. Every time whenever I call, I always feel elated and joyful. وَإِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي وَكَانَتْ إِمْرَأَتِي عَاقِرَةً فَهَبْ لِي مِنْ لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا يَرِثُنِي وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوبَ وَاجْعَلْهُ رَبِّ رَضِيًّا. O Allah, indeed I am very fearful of some of the relatives I have. I am fearful that they would be my inheritors. And I also know one fact, that my wife she is unproductive, she is barren, she has gone to the age that she would not be able to produce a baby. But I know one fact for sure, that you are musabbibul asbab. You have control over everything. Ya Allah, I request you from your bargah that you give me a heir and inheritor that would inherit me and also inherit the family of Yaqub alayhi salatu wassalam. And Ya Allah, make him one of those that would be pleasing towards you. When Zakaria alayhi salatu wassalam supplicated in bargah of Allah Almighty, imagine the situation. Zakaria is very old, his bones have become feeble, and he is so old that the white hair have appeared. His wife is also very old. She is not at the age that she can produce a baby. But still he is making dua to Allah Almighty. Allah replied, Ya Zakaria, inna nubashiruka bi ghulamin ismuhu Yahya lam naj'al lahu min qablu samiyya. O Zakaria, because you have relied upon me, because you are dependent upon me, I am the musabbibul asbab. I give you the glad tidings of one of the son. His name is Yahya. Allah has given the name Yahya, and he is someone that we have not named Yahya anyone before him. Power and authority of Allah Almighty. Kitne hi buzurg ho gaye. This is the authority of Allah Almighty. Second example. I wanted you to understand and reflect. भाई किसने दिए है, कौन किसने तोहफा दिया है? खालिक कायनात मुसब्बिबुल अस्बाब, खुदावंद मुताल. Imagine, just reflect upon it once. Second example is the example of Ayyub alayhi salatu wassalam, and I want all of you to reflect on this example, because probably when I'm going to quote this example, a lot of you would feel it very personal. Why? Because at the end of the day, تِلْكَ الْأَيَّامِ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. Allah has said in Surah Al-Imran that these are the alternating days that we give you. Some days are for you and some days are against you. Maulai Kainat said, الدهر يومان يوم لك ويوم عليك. This whole world consists of 2 days. One day is for you and one day is against you. Likewise, Ayyub alayhi salatu wassalam, someone who Allah has given so much wealth, someone who has so much possessions, so much provisions from Allah Almighty. Shaitan came in. Hazrat Shaitan came in. Shaitan is having conversation with Allah Almighty. Shaitan said that when you see Ayyub alayhi salatu wassalam being thankful to you, being grateful to you, he does not do it because he is very genuine and sincere when he is doing it. He only does it that you have given him wealth and possession, that's why he is doing it. And if you would dispossess him, if you would take out his wealth again, and if you would dispossess him with everything that he has in terms of his family, in terms of everything that you have given, you would see that Ayyub alayhi salatu wassalam will never be thankful and be in gratitude to you. भाई मिजाज समझ आ रहा है आपको शैतान का? जो नबी की नबूवत पर शक करे उस शख्सियत का नाम शैतान है, चाहे शैतान करे या शैतान के मानने वाले रसूल पर करें. Allah said, قَدْ سَلَّطْتُكَ عَلَى مَالِهِ وَوَلَدِهِ. O shaitan, all authority, all power to you. Go and do whatever you want to go. He went and he cried out, Ya Rabbi sallitni ala ghanamihi, Ya Rabbi sallitni ala malihi, Ya Rabbi sallitni ala zar'ihi. Oh Allah, give me the authority over his agriculture, give me the authority over his livestock. But he also said a very important line, Ya Rabbi sallitni ala badanihi ma khala aynayhi wa aqlihi. Oh Allah, give me the authority over the whole body of Ayyub alayhi salatu wassalam. But I also know my limit. My limit is I cannot fracture and I cannot make him an injury in his eyes, and I cannot always do everything of my own control. One thing that I don't have control over, it is the intellect of Ayyub alayhi salatu wassalam. खुदा सारी चीजें शैतान को दे सकता है, नबी की अकल सिर्फ और सिर्फ खुदा के इख्तियार में रहती है. At that moment, everything he did, everything was desecrated, everything was damaged. But the riwayah says, see, Tafsir al-Safi, Kashani has quoted this. The riwayah says very beautiful line. Everything was taken away from Ayyub. And the body of Ayyub resembled like a piece of a flesh. He was afflicted with so many injuries. At that moment, the riwayah says, فَأَزْدَادَ أَيُّوبُ لِلَّهِ شُكْرًا وَحَمْدًا. The injuries were coming to Ayyub. The afflictions were coming to Ayyub. The adversities were coming to Ayyub. But every time he was being trial, every time he was being tested, he would always be grateful to Allah Almighty and would always dignify and glorify Allah Almighty. But one thing actually happened that really made him very sad. Some of the rabbis came to meet Ayyub alayhi salatu wassalam. And when they came in, उस ज़माने के शेखुल इस्लाम समझ लीजिए, आ गए, नबी को तबलीग करने आ गए. या अय्यूब, लौ अखबरतना बिज़ंबिक लअल्लल्लाहु काना युहलिकुना इज़ा सअलनाहु. अल्लाह, नबी से हिम्मत देखें बात कैसे कर रहे हैं. Oh Ayyub, if you can report to us, if you can narrate to us the sins that you have committed, because we believe Allah would desecrate us because of the sins that you have committed. وَمَا نَرَى إِبْتَلَاءَكَ بِهَذَا الْإِبْتِلَاءِ الَّذِي لَمْ تَبْتَلِي بِهِ أَحَدٌ إِلَّا مِنْ أَمْرٍ كُنْتَ تَسْتُرُهُ. And we don't see the affliction and the adversity that you're going through, but we believe that you have committed a major sin. That's why you're going through all the afflictions. And we are the Shaykhul Islam here. Tell us your sins and we will ask Allah Almighty to forgive you. At that moment, Ayyub alayhi salatu wassalam, the question is about the infallibility of Ayyub. The question is about the character of Ayyub, the sanctity of Ayyub. Ayyub replied to them, فَوَعِزَّةَ رَبِّي, by the name of my Lord, by the sanctity of my Lord, لَمْ أَرْتَكِبْ ذَنْبًا, I have never committed a sin. وَمَا أَكَلْتُ إِلَّا كَانَ الضَّعِيفُ أَوْ الْفَقِيرُ يَأْكُلُ مَعِي, and never have been a time that I have consumed a lunch or a dinner, but a destitute and an orphan would sit with me and would eat and consume whatever I'm eating and consume. At that moment, he made the dua to Allah Almighty. Imagine Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam, his whole body is afflicted with injuries. Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam, his whole family has passed away. Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam, agriculture, livestock, everything you imagine, he does not have. He now supplicated to Allah Almighty. Allah replied in Quran, فَاسْتَجَبْنَا لَهُ وَكَشَفْنَا مَا بِهِ مِنْ ضُرٍّ. And with Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam, we answered his call and we removed the affliction, the adversities that he was going through. And what we did, وَآتَيْنَاهُ أَهْلَهُ وَمِثْلَهُمْ مَعَهُمْ. And we return him back his family and the likeness of the things that were taken from him. And why was it done? رَحْمَةً مِّنْ عِنْدِنَا وَذِكْرًا لِلْعَابِدِينَ. And this was an exercise that was practiced by Allah Almighty so that it can be a memory of rahmat of Allah Almighty for all the believers and also a point of reflection for the worshippers of Allah Almighty. So do you understand? This is the giver of the gift, Allah Almighty. And who is the receiver? The primary receiver is none other than Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. And the riwayah, a beautiful riwayah, salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. How Quran has defined Prophet Muhammad. I want all of you to concentrate. Inna arsalnaka. Go back to the point. The quality of the gift, one of the determinant of it would be the relationship that the receiver has with the giver. Now see how close the relationship the receiver and the giver has. Prophet has with Allah Almighty. Inna arsalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran wa nadhira wa da'iyan ila Allahi wa sirajan munira. O Prophet, we have verily sent you as what? As a warner. We have sent you as a giver of good news. We have sent you as a witness. We have sent you as a caller towards Allah Almighty. And we have sent you as the lantern of guidance. Sirajan munira. Let's go and reflect the second ayah. You know, we all want multiple portion of mercy of Allah Almighty, isn't it? Zada se zada rahmat ilahi, we all want. Blessing of Allah Almighty, we all want. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullah. Oh, the people who have believed, fear Allah Almighty. Wa aminu bi rasulihi. And have faith in Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yu'tikum kiflayni min rahmatihi. وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ نُورًا تَمْشُونَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. If you would have the true sense of belief in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah will give you double portion of His mercy, and Allah would create you a light through which you would be able to go forward, and Allah would forgive you. Verily, Allah is the most forgiving and most merciful. Nabi par iman hoga, उसके बाद रहमत इलाही के मुस्तहिक बनेंगे. And you want to understand the power of the Prophet? لو أنزلنا, this is what Marhum Talib Johari used to say it, I will translate it in my own way. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل, the verse of the Quran. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. That if we would have revealed this Quran on a mountain, oh Prophet, you would have seen that mountain humbled and crumbled by the fear of Allah Almighty. The book of Allah is so difficult to withhold that if Allah would have descended it upon the mountains would have crumbled because of the fear of Allah Almighty. They could not have hold the book of Allah, the kalam of Allah. Now this is about the mountains. And Allah has, now the mountains you go, I have been to Rockies, I have been to different places, Kashmir, all those places. When you see the mountains, you can imagine the magnanimity of Qudrat of Allah Almighty. These are the mountains that are here for millions of years, for billions of years, and no one can move them even an inch, even an iota. This is the power of mountain. But even that mountain could not hold the kalam of Allah Almighty This is one reasoning we get. Now you compare this power of the mountain with the power of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wa innahu latanzilu rabbil alameen. Verily, this Quran is a revelation from the Lord of the universe. Nazala bihi ruhul amin. And this is the revelation that was descended upon by none other than the trustworthy Spirit Jibreel alayhi salatu wassalam. And what was the container of the wahi? What was the container of the revelation? Ala qalbika litakuna min al-munzirin. That this revelation was revealed onto the heart of the Prophet, so that, O Prophet, you can be one of the warners. Fi lisan Arabiyyan mubin. And this whole revelation was revealed in the blessed Arabic language, the clear and the most easiest language to understand. You could see things that the mountain cannot hold. The heart of the Prophet, the cognition of the Prophet was able to withhold the kalam of Allah Almighty. This is your Prophet. One of the riwayah, and inshallah I want to go quickly towards the gift too, because that's the thing that I wanted to talk. One last riwayah. The primary receiver is who? Prophet Muhammad. And the secondary receiver of it is none other than the commander of the faithful, Ali ibn Abi Talib. Allahumma salli ala. For a few years, Fatima al-Zahra was with the Prophet, and for the next few years, she was with Mawla Kainat Ali ibn Abi Talib. The Prophet is describing the attributes, his merits, his virtues on the day of judgment. And this conversation is taking place between Prophet and Jabir bin Abdullah al-Ansari. Same Jabir and Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari and Fatima al-Zahra when you're reciting Hadith al-Kisa. See the way Prophet is communicating with Jabir bin Abdullah. Ya Jabir, ana awwalu man yakhruju min qabrihi yawm al-qiyamah wa aliyyun ma'i. I would be the first person that would be resurrected on the day of judgment, and I would only have one companion that would be with me. It would be none other than Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. Ana awwalu man yaqra'u bab al-jannah wa aliyyun ma'i. And I would be the first person that would knock the doors of the gardens of the paradise. And Ali ibn Abi Talib would be with me. Ana awwalu man yaskunu fi a'la illiyin wa aliyyun ma'i. And I would be the first person that would be residing in the highest echelon of the gardens of the paradise, and Ali would be with me. وَأَنَا أَوَّلُ مَنْ يُسْقَى رَحِيقُ الْمَخْتُومِ وَعَلِيٌّ مَعِي. And I would be the first person that would be presented the sealed nectar of the Jannah, and there would only be one companion with me, none other than Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Presenter is Allah Almighty. Presented, the primary presented person or the receiver is Prophet, and the secondary receiver is Ali ibn Abi Talib. We have determined how close they were with Allah Almighty and how beautiful gifts should Allah have given to them. And now we reflect upon the gift that was given, and that gift refers to none other than mistress of all the women of the universe, Fatima al-Zahra alayha salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala. What a beautiful conversation the Prophet had with Salman al-Muhammadi. Call them Salman al-Farsi? No, Salman al-Muhammadi. Very close to the Prophet. Ya Salman, Allah. सोचें बस, आँखों को बंद करके इस रिवायत को सोचें. Imagine. يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه. That would be the day that I would be running from my mother. I would be running from my father. I would be running from my closest friends. I would be running from my own children. I would be running from my wife, from everyone. वो दिन ही इतना खतरनाक होगा, सबको अपनी लगी होगी. What a difficult day we have to confront. When you remember all those ayahs that pertains to the topic of the day of judgment, and now you try to reflect on the riwayah that I'm going to present. Ya Salman, man ahabba ibnati Fatima kana ma'i fil jannati. अब तोहफे के बारे में ही तो बात करनी है. मौहूबुन बिह, the thing that was given as a gift. Oh Salman, anyone who would endear, who would love and respect my daughter Fatima, he would be my companion in Jannah. وَمَنْ أَبْغَضَ فَاطِمَةَ فَهُوَ فِي النَّارِ. Very easy to understand. Anyone who despises and has hatred of Fatima al-Zahra would be in the hellfire. All of it, we all understand. We have gone through it so many times. Ya Salman, حُبُّ فَاطِمَةَ يَنْفَعُ فِي مِئَةِ مَوْطِنٍ. Allah. Oh Salman, the love of Fatima al-Zahra. We all have gathered here. We all have assembled here for love of Fatima al-Zahra. Oh Salman, love of Fatima al-Zahra would help you at least on 100 of occasion. Now this 100 can be a number. This 100 can also pertain to the kathra, to the abundance. कि हर जगह मोहब्बत फातिमा काम आनी है. जैसे Quran, sometimes Quran has said 70. 70 does not refer as a number 70. 70 refers to the abundance. तुम जितनी दफा भी तौबा कर लो, इनके बारे में तौबा कबूल नहीं होनी. Likewise, the love of Fatima al-Zahra would help you in each and every stage on the day of judgment. وَأَيْسَرُ تِلْكَ الْمَوَاطِنِ الْمَوْتُ وَالْقَبْرُ وَالْمَحْشَرُ وَالْمِيزَانُ وَالصِّرَاطُ وَالْمَحْشَرُ. Allah. Imagine on the day of judgment, I'm going there. Right at the time of death, O Salman, if there is something that's going to help you, it's the love of Lady of Heaven, Fatima al-Zahra. When you would be in your grave, ये कोई खताबत के जुमले नहीं. When you would be in your grave, the thing that's going to help you is the love of Fatima al-Zahra when you would be on the day of judgment. And when your accounting of deeds would be put on a scale and measurement. And when your deeds would be either given to you in the right hand or in the left hand. And when you have to go through the bridge that goes over the hellfire, the Pul-e-Sirat, if there is one of the most important thing that's going to help you, it is none other than love of Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salatu wassalam. फिर एक और जुमला कहते हैं, मन रज़ियत इब्नती फातिमा अन्हु रज़ीतु अन्हु. भाई मैं यार बताना चाह रहा हूँ रज़ी अल्लाह लानतुल्लाह कब. तवज्जो रखिएगा. Anyone who my daughter Fatima al-Zahra is pleased with, I am pleased with that personality. وَمَنْ رَضِيتُ عَنْهُ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ. And anyone who I would respect, anyone who I am pleased with, Allah is pleased with that personality. وَمَنْ غَضِبَتْ عَلَيْهِ فَاطِمَةُ إِبْنِي غَضِبْتُ عَلَيْهِ. And whosoever my daughter Fatima al-Zahra is displeased with, is angry with, I am angry and displeased with those personalities. وَمَنْ غَضِبْتُ عَلَيْهِ غَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ. And whosoever I'm displeased against, Allah Almighty is displeased with that person too. And then at the end, Prophet said these lines, Ya Salman, وَيْلٌ لِمَنْ يَظْلِمُهَا وَيَظْلِمُ ذُرِّيَّتَهَا وَيَظْلِمُ شِيعَتَهَا. Woe and destruction upon that person that would persecute her, that would be oppressive against her progeny, and that would oppress her Shias. This is Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salatu wassalam. अब पता चला रज़ी अल्लाह लानतुल्लाह का मेयार क्या है. जिससे ज़हरा राजी हो जाए वो रज़ी अल्लाह, जिससे ज़हरा गज़बनाक हो जाए वो लानतुल्लाह. That's why one time, this riwayah, by the way, whatever I'm quoting is generally from a unanimous source. This riwayah is coming from none other than Mujahid. Mujahid was one of the commentator, one of the person who has written tafsir of Quran, one of the very early scholar, one of the student of Ibn Abbas. Now he is someone who is not from the Shia methodology, who does not used to follow Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. He is quoting this riwayah. أخذ رسول الله بيد فاطمة الزهراء. Very important introduction. गदीर में भी हाथों को बुलंद करके अली की तारीफ करवाई थी. This same way Fatima al-Zahra, Prophet took her by her hand, and then said, Man arafaha faqad arafaha. The same riwayah, the same report that I used initially. Anyone who recognizes, anyone who understands who Fatima al-Zahra is, he or she understands who she is. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَعْرِفْهَا, and anyone who does not know who Fatima is, فَهِيَ فَاطِمَةُ بِنْتُ مُحَمَّدٍ. She is Fatima, the daughter of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. وَهِيَ بَضْعَتِي. She is part of the prophethood. Not part of my body, part of the prophethood. You want to understand Prophet? You cannot understand Prophet unless or until you don't understand Fatima al-Zahra. وهي بضعتي وهي قلبي وروح التي بين جنبي. Allah. She is my cognition, she is my heart, she is my soul and spirit that resides within me. من آذاها فقد آذاني ومن آذاني فقد آذى الله. Whoever hurts her, whoever displeases her, it is as if he has displeased me. Anyone who displeases me has displeased Allah Almighty. This is Fatima al-Zahra alayha salatu wassalam. And when you're reflecting about her traits, when you're reflecting about her virtues, one of the lesson that I want you to understand is one of the story that happened between Imam Hassan and Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam. What a beautiful conversation, what a beautiful incident that is being quoted by different scholars, but I'm quoting from Wasail al-Shia, the version that I'm quoting. The riwayah says, Imam Hassan alayhi salatu wasalam is quoting this. He is the reporter of the riwayah. He's the narrator. He says, رَأَيْتُ أُمِّي فَاطِمَةً فِي مِحْرَابِهَا لَيْلَةَ جُمْعَةٍ. I saw my mother Fatima al-Zahra in her sanctuary, in her mihrab, on Thursday night. فَلَمْ يَزَلْ رَاكِعَةً وَسَاجِدَةً حَتَّى اتَّضَحَ عُمُودُ الصَّبْرِ. The whole night, she would be in a state of prostration. She would be in the state of sajda and the ruku. Throughout the night, she would be in the act of worship and obedience to Allah Almighty. حَتَّى اتَّضَحَ عُمُودُ الصَّبْرِ, until the time of dawn, until the time of Fajr would come in. The whole night, فَكَانَ تَدْعُو لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ وَتُسَمِّيهِمْ وَتَكْثُرُ الدُّعَاء لَهُمْ. The quality of Fatima al-Zahra was what? She would ask for the forgiveness. She would supplicate to Allah Almighty for the believers, men and women. And not only she would supplicate them. भाई हमारी दुआ क्या होती है? मैं बारहा बताता हूँ. हमारी दुआ ये होती है, खुदा तमाम मुमनीन की हाजात को पूरी कर. 5 सेकंड दिए, फिर अपनी दुआ पर आ गए. सही है. अब कोई हमसे पूछा आप अपनी दुआओं में याद रखते हैं, तो आपने क्या कहा? बिल्कुल याद रखते हैं, क्योंकि मोमिनीन में आपने उनको पहले ही शुमार कर लिया होता है. अच्छा, बात बुरी नहीं है, कहीं से तो शुरू करना है. But Fatima al-Zahra is telling us a very different way. Fatima al-Zahra used to name each believer, men and women, and not only name them, but also used to supplicate a lot for them. यानी अगर मैंने बहुत जहमत करके मिसाल के तौर पे किसी के लिए दुआ भी मांगी, खुदाया इन शख्सियत की तमाम दुआओं को कबूल कर. The maximum, what would I say? Oh Allah, whatever wishes, whatever things that he is desiring and yearning, Ya Allah, please fulfill all of them. But no, that's not the way of Fatima al-Zahra. Fatima al-Zahra would name each and everything that that person yearns or desires and would supplicate in the bargah of Allah Almighty to fulfill all of them. When I saw all of it, this is the Thursday night schedule of Fatima al-Zahra. At the end, Imam Hassan alayhi salatu wassalam said, जब मैंने ये देखा, I came to my mother Fatima, my mother Ummi Zahra salamullah alayha. I said, oh my mother, you have supplicated for everyone, but you have not supplicated for yourself. At that moment, Fatima al-Zahra said a reply that I want all of us to have it as a slogan. Fatima al-Zahra said, Al-Jar thumma dar. First is the collective responsibility that I have for the whole community, and then the responsibility would come for my own self. I would first supplicate for everyone in my community, and then I would supplicate for myself. This is the lesson. एक सबक लेकर जाइए आप यहाँ से. Lesson from Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salatu wasalam. That's why दुआ से पहले थोड़ा सा अपनी मोहब्बतों को अगर हम जमा कर लें, यकजा कर लें. By the way, this riwayah is from Abdullah bin Umar. Not someone from the Shia school of thought. He said, Qala Rasulullah. The Messenger of Allah has said, what? Man arada al-hikmata faliyuhibba ahli bayti. If someone is yearning for the wisdom, if someone desires the right knowledge, the key to that right knowledge is loving Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. Man arada an yatawakkala ala Allah falyuhibba ahli bayti. If someone wants to do tawakkul on Allah Almighty, to have complete dependence on Allah Almighty, the pathway towards the dependence of Allah Almighty is none other than loving Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Man arada an yanjuwa min adhab al-qabri falyuhibba ahli bayti. If someone desires to shield himself, protect himself from the tormentation and the punishment of the grave, the key to it is to love Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Man arada an yuhasaba wa yadkhul al-jannah. If anyone desires that he enters into the paradise in a state that he does not have to go through a very difficult accounting, فَلِيُحِبَّ أَهْلِ بَيْتِي. The key to it is loving Ahlul Bayt. At the end, Prophet says, مَا يُحِبُّهُمْ أَحَدٌ إِلَّا رَبِحَ فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. No one would love Ahlul Bayt, the household of the Prophet, but he would benefit both in this world and the hereafter. So with this, inshallah, we would like to, मैंने दुआएं आखिरी के लिए रखी हुई थी. कल भी मैंने यही किया था, because sometimes we're running short of the time. तो जितना टाइम बच जाता है उतने मिनट की दुआएं रह जाती हैं. So I'm just done with my timing. So inshallah, we would like to supplicate in the bargah of Allah Almighty by giving the wasilah of al-Muhammad alayhimus salam. Allahumma bihaqqi Fatimata wa abiha wa ba'liha wa baniha alayhimus salam. Ya Allah, we all have gathered here with supplications that we have regarding this world and the hereafter. Ya Allah, please fulfill all of those hajats. Ya Allah, our marhumin used to be part of these majalises. All those marhumins, their name were displayed on the screen. All those marhumins of the people that are sitting here. All the marhumins that you probably would know, the people are listening online. All the marhumin, kullul mu'minina wal mu'minat. Ya Allah, these people used to be part of these majalises. Unfortunately, they are not with us anymore. Ya Allah, please forgive all of their sins. Ya Allah, please elevate all of their statuses. Ya Allah, when we leave this world, Ya Allah, give us the opportunity that when we're leaving this world, we live in the state that we have the right faith, and we have the right actions, and we have the true love of Fatima al-Zahra alayha salatu wassalam. And Ya Allah, today is a very blessed night. With this sanctity of the blessed night that we're going through, we request you that, Ya Allah, to hasten the zuhur of Imam Sahibul Zaman and to make us among his companions and among his supporters, inshallah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.